Google just made your monthly AI subscriptions look extremely uncomfortable. Not one tool, not two, 15. And the ridiculous part is that this is not just another chatbot list. This is Google quietly surrounding the whole paid AI stack. The chat app, the research app, the coding assistant, the design tool, the video tool, the music tool, the automation tool, the brand content tool, the app builder. The thing you were paying $10 for over here, $20 for over there, and another $30 for because the first two still could not do the job. Google now has a version of almost every one of them. Some are polished, some are weird, some are experimental enough that you should not trust them with your entire business yet. But the shocking part is not that every Google AI tool is perfect. The shocking part is that the default question has changed. It used to be, which AI subscription should I buy? Now the question is, why am I paying for this before I have checked whether Google already gives me a good enough version? Because if you have a Google account, the free stack is no longer one assistant sitting in a browser tab. It is starting to look like a whole productivity company. So here are 15 Google AI tools that can replace paid monthly tools, and number 15 is the one that makes this whole thing feel less like a feature update and more like Google trying to eat the entire AI app store. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe for more like this now. Back to the video. Number 1 is Gemini, and yes, the obvious one has to be first because it is the tool that makes the rest of the stack feel dangerous. Gemini is not just Google's answer to ChatGPT anymore, it is the front door. You get normal chat, you get image generation and editing. You get deep research, you get Gemini Live, you get Canvas, you get Gems. And on Google's own plan page, the free tier already includes a surprising amount of that. That matters because a lot of people are paying for an AI subscription just to ask questions, rewrite text, summarize pages, generate images, and occasionally build a little draft or plan. If that is your use case, Gemini is now the first subscription audit, not because it beats every paid model in every situation. That is the boring argument. The better argument is this. If a free assistant already handles 80% of your random daily AI work, the paid assistant has to earn the remaining 20% every single month. That is brutal because most subscriptions do not die when a better product appears. They die when the free product becomes good enough that you forget why you were paying. Number 2 is Gemini Notebook. This used to be Notebook LM. Google renamed it to Gemini Notebook, and that rename is a clue. This is no longer just a cute tool that turns PDFs into summaries. It is becoming Google's research layer. You can give it your own sources, reports, docs, transcripts, notes, long pages. Then instead of asking a general chatbot to guess from the internet, you ask questions against the material you actually care about. That replaces a surprising number of paid workflows. Notion AI for summarizing internal notes, Readwise style research organization, Perplexity style, answer hunting when the source set is yours. Even the paid study tools that turn documents into quizzes and explanations. The killer detail is that Google is moving Notebook across the ecosystem. Not just a side app, not just a lab project. Notebook is moving into Gemini and Search. And Google has already announced a secure cloud computer for notebooks, so it can run code for deeper data analysis. That is the moment where this stops being a summary toy. If your research assistant can read the sources, cite the sources, organize the sources, and analyze the data inside the sources, the paid research tools have a problem. Number 3 is AI mode in search. This is the one that should make Perplexity nervous because the old version of Google Search gave you links. The new AI version starts acting more like an answer engine. Ask a complicated question, continue the conversation, use Search Live, use Lens, move from an AI overview into a deeper AI mode conversation. And when this works, it attacks a paid tool category that grew because normal search became annoying. People did not only pay for answer engines because the models were magical, they paid because 10 blue links plus ads plus SEO noise felt exhausting. So if Google can make search feel conversational without losing its access to the web, then the thing people were paying for becomes a feature inside the thing they already use. That is the pattern you will see again and again in this list. Google does not always need to build the most beloved standalone app. Sometimes it just needs to put a good enough version inside the place where the task already starts. That is scary for subscriptions because convenience beats purity more often than developers like to admit. Number 4 is Google AI Studio. This is where the list starts turning from normal productivity into actual building. AI Studio used to feel like a playground for developers. You try a model, you paste a prompt, you test a response. Useful, but not exactly a replacement for a full app builder. Now Google is pushing it much harder into the build apps from prompts category. Google's own product page shows AI Studio as the place to build with its next generation models, publish apps, vibe code from drawings, and create interactive web components from a single prompt. That means it starts competing with a messy pile of paid tools at once. A model playground, a prompt prototyping tool, a tiny app builder, a place to turn an idea into something shareable, and the Firebase integration makes the move much more serious, because a toy app becomes a real app the moment it can save data, manage users, and survive outside the chat window. Google even began sunsetting Firebase Studio and telling people to move new work toward AI Studio or Antigravity. That is not subtle. It means Google tried one version of the AI app builder, learned from it, and is moving the center of gravity into bigger products. So if you pay for small prototype builders, app mockup generators, or model playground subscriptions, AI Studio is one of the first places I would check. Number 5 is Gemini Code Assist. This is the GitHub Copilot pressure point. Google made Gemini Code Assist available free for individuals with support in VS Code, JetBrains, and GitHub. And the number is the hook. Google said the free individual version has a quota of up to 180,000 code completions per month. That is not a tiny sample. That is not a trial that disappears after one afternoon. For a lot of developers, that is effectively the whole coding autocomplete budget. And it also includes code chat and GitHub code review assistance. So if you're paying monthly for basic AI autocomplete, code suggestions, and pull request feedback, Gemini Code Assist is the awkward comparison. Is it always the same experience as your favorite paid coding setup? No, but that is not the point. The point is that the free baseline has moved. 2,000 completions a month used to sound generous. 180,000 makes it sound tiny. And once a free tool can cover normal daily coding assistance, paid coding tools have to justify themselves with agent workflows, repository, understanding, reliability, and speed. Autocomplete alone is no longer enough. Number 6 is Gemini CLI. This one is dangerous because it attacks the terminal workflow. Claude Code trained a lot of developers to think of the command line as the natural home for an AI coding agent. Open a repo, ask for a change, let the agent inspect files, let it edit, let it run commands, let it loop on errors. Gemini CLI brings Google's model access into that same kind of flow, and Google's Gemini CLI quota page lists free usage when you log in with Google through Gemini Code Assist for individuals. The published free limit is 1,000 model requests per user per day with 60 per minute. That is a very real amount of terminal agent work. It will not replace every paid coding agent for everyone. The command line experience, model behavior, and repo complexity all matter. But if you're paying $20 a month, mainly because you want an AI in your terminal, Gemini CLI is the tool that forces the uncomfortable test. Run the same small repo task in both bug fix, refactor, test failure, documentation update. If the free tool gets through the jobs you actually do, your paid terminal agent is not competing against hype anymore. It is competing against your own bank statement. Number 7 is Jules. Jules is Google's autonomous coding agent, not autocomplete, not chat inside the editor. An agent that connects to GitHub, clones your repository into a cloud virtual machine, makes a plan, changes code, and gives you a diff to review. That puts it in the same mental category as Devon-style async coding agents and the background agent features showing up in modern editors. The free plan is the part that matters. Google's Jules page lists 15 tasks per day and 3 concurrent tasks on the base plan. 15 tasks per day is not an enterprise agent swarm, but for an individual developer, that is enough to change behavior. You can throw documentation cleanups at it, small bug fixes, dependency upgrades, test repairs, low-risk refactors, all the work that is too annoying to do manually, but too small to justify opening a whole project planning session. This is where AI coding gets commercially weird, because a paid coding agent has to be better than free autocomplete. Then it has to be better than free terminal help, and now it also has to be better than a free cloud agent that can work while you do something else. That is a lot of pressure from one company. Number 8 is Google Antigravity. This is the cursor and windsurf comparison. Antigravity is Google's agent-first development platform. Google's product page shows it under code with AI assistance, and the AI products page describes building digital cities, games, and app workflows using sub-agents. That is not normal autocomplete positioning. That is Google saying the development environment itself should be agentic. And this is where the free replacement conversation gets complicated. Antigravity is not just replacing one feature, it is replacing the idea that your AI coding workflow has to live inside someone else's editor subscription. The more Google connects Antigravity with Gemini, Jules, Code Assist, AI Studio, and Firebase, the more it becomes a stack. Prompt an app in AI Studio. Add Firebase services, move into Antigravity when the project needs code first control, send background work to Jules, use Gemini CLI in the terminal. That is the shape paid tools should be worried about, not one perfect app. A path. Once users can move from idea to prototype to repo to agent work inside one ecosystem, Every separate subscription in the middle has to prove why it deserves to stay. Number 9 is Stitch. Stitch is Google's AI design tool. Describe an interface, and it turns the idea into high-fidelity designs for mobile and web. Google says the newer version adds real-time design with a Stitch agent voice input, live iteration, and export paths into tools like Google AI Studio, Antigravity, Netlify, and Figma. That makes Stitch a direct threat to the early UI generator category, the tools people use when they do not want to stare at a blank Figma canvas. The tools that turn prompts into landing pages, the tools that generate app screens before anyone has written the real app. And the really interesting part is the export path. A pretty mock-up is useful. A pretty mock-up that can move into code is much more useful. Stitch is not replacing a senior product designer. That would be silly. But it can replace the paid tool you bought just to get from vague idea to first screen. And for solo builders, that is often the hardest step, not polishing the final design. Starting, getting the first layout on the page, getting enough shape that the product stops living entirely in your head. If Stitch does that for free or cheaply enough, a lot of paid design generators become optional. Number 10 is Pomelli. This one is sneaky because it does not look like a developer tool. It looks like a small business marketing tool, but that is exactly why it matters. Pomelli can take a business website, build what Google calls business DNA, and use that to generate on-brand marketing content. Google's help page says Pomelli is currently available at no charge and that users can create several hundred image and video generations, several hundred for free. That is a wild number if you have ever paid for brand content tools, social post generators, product image tools, or lightweight ad creative platforms. And Google has been adding agentic capabilities, brand books, websites, more ways to build a brand identity from materials, documents, images, or conversation. This replaces a category of tools that are usually sold with extremely polished marketing pages and extremely painful monthly pricing. Jasper, copy tools, basic ad creative tools, social campaign generators. The catch is obvious. You must review the output. Google itself warns that AI can alter details like product colors, logos, and textures. So do not ship product ads blindly. But if you need first drafts, campaign angles, image concepts, brand content, and quick social assets, Pomelli is the kind of free tool that makes a $30 subscription feel suddenly very negotiable. Number 11 is Google Flow. This is where the list starts getting absurd, because now we are not talking about text or code, we are talking about AI video. Google Flow is the creative studio built around Google's video and image generation models. Google says Flow has expanded into an AI creative studio, launched in over 140 countries, and added new agentic workflows through Flow Agent. That means it starts competing with tools like Runway, Pika, Kling-style video tools, AI image editors, and creative workflow subscriptions. And the direction is very clear. Generate scenes, edit video conversationally, use images as ingredients, build custom creative tools, batch edit assets, work with character consistency. The reason this matters is that AI video subscriptions can get expensive quickly. They are credit-based, they punish experimentation, you pay because every failed clip costs something. Google is not making professional video free at unlimited scale. No serious company is going to do that forever. But Flow gives users a way to create and edit video inside the Google AI ecosystem instead of immediately reaching for a separate paid creative app. That alone changes the funnel. The first place people experiment matters. If they experiment in Flow, the paid video tool has to win them back. Number 12 is Google Flow Music. This is the Suno and Udio pressure point. Flow Music lets you create songs from text, image, and audio prompts. Google's support page says you can create, edit, remix, share, and download songs. And Google's Flow update says the product uses Lyria 3 Pro and adds more granular editing, including changing parts of a song without ruining the rest. That last detail is important. Most AI music tools are fun until you need control. You get a song, it is almost right. Then you ask for a small change and the whole thing mutates into a different song. Flow Music is aimed directly at that problem. Rewrite lyrics, change a beat, drop, translate part of a song, adjust structure, use references, create music videos. That is not just a toy prompt box anymore. For YouTubers, indie builders, game makers, prototype creators, and people making content on a budget, AI music is one of those subscriptions that feels small until you add it to all the others. $10 here, $12 there. Another plan for commercial downloads. Flow Music does not mean nobody should ever pay for music tools, but it does mean the first draft soundtrack, demo song, mood track, or concept loop might not need another monthly bill. Number 13 is Opal. Opal is the tool that makes this list feel like Google is not only replacing apps, it is replacing glue. Google describes Opal as a way to build, edit, and share AI mini apps using natural language. You describe the workflow, Opal turns it into a mini app. It can chain prompts, model calls, and tools. It handles hosting. You can share the result. That puts it in the same mental space as Zapier, Make, N8N, and no-code internal tool builders. Not because it replaces every serious automation platform. It does not. If your business runs on a complex Zapier setup connected to billing, support, databases, and permissions, do not rip it out because a Google experiment looks cool. But for small AI workflows, Opal is exactly the kind of thing people overpay for. Turn a messy process into a repeatable app, build a little intake tool, chain a few model steps, create a personal helper for a repeated task, share it with a teammate. That used to mean picking a no-code platform, learning its interface, and paying once you hit real usage. Opal compresses that into a prompt. And if Google keeps connecting it to the rest of the ecosystem, this becomes one of the most important tools on the list because replacing one app saves one bill. Replacing the glue between apps can save 5. Number 14 is Mixboard. Mixboard is Google's AI concept board. Think mood boards, product direction, visual exploration, and messy creative planning before the final design exists. This replaces a different kind of paid tool, not a coding agent, not a chatbot. The tools people use to collect inspiration, generate visual options, create concept boards, and explain a direction before they make anything real. Canva, Milanote, Pinterest-style workflows, mood board generators. The reason Mixboard matters is that creative work usually has a hidden first phase. You're not making the final asset yet. You're trying to find the taste. What should this app feel like? What should this brand look like? What should this video thumbnail communicate? What is the world of this product? Paid creative tools love charging for that phase because it looks like activity boards, references, generated images, templates, folders full of maybes. If Mixboard gives you a fast way to generate, compare, and refine that early direction, it can remove another subscription from the pile. And even if you still finish the work somewhere else, the expensive part might no longer be the place where you start. Number 15 is Google Vids. This is the one that makes the whole list feel ridiculous because Google is not only attacking specialist AI startups, it is putting AI features into Workspace. Google's AI product page says you can create, edit, and share videos using new AI capabilities at no cost in Google Vids. That goes after a very real paid category. Simple business videos, training videos, internal updates, explainers, pitch clips, screenshot presentations, the kind of video that people pay a monthly tool for because editing software feels too heavy, and that is the bigger Google strategy hiding underneath this list. Some tools are standalone, some are labs experiments, some are developer products, some are bundled into Gemini plans, some are being folded into Workspace and Search, but together they create the same pressure from every angle. Why pay for a research assistant if Gemini Notebook can work from your sources? Why pay for basic code completion if Code Assist gives you huge free limits? Why pay for a terminal agent before trying Gemini CLI? Why pay for async coding tasks before trying Jules? Why pay for first draft designs before trying Stitch? Why pay for brand content before trying Pomelli? Why pay for quick video and music generation before checking Flow and Flow Music? Why pay for tiny workflow apps before trying Opal? That is the part that should make paid AI tools nervous. Not because Google instantly wins every category, because Google only needs to make the free version good enough to change the buying question. Now, here's the catch, and it is a real catch. Do not hear 15 tools and think 15 permanent free business critical systems. That would be a mistake. Google Labs experiments can change, limits can move, regions can matter, products can be renamed, products can be folded into other products. Firebase Studio is the warning label. Google is sunsetting it on March 22nd, 2027, and new workspace creation was disabled on June 22nd, 2026. That does not mean Google is abandoning AI app building. It means the path changed to AI Studio and Antigravity, and that is exactly the lesson. Use these tools aggressively, but do not build your whole life on an experiment unless you understand the export path. Before replacing a paid tool, ask 3 questions. Can I get my work out? Are the limits written down? Is this a core product, a planned benefit, or a labs experiment? If the answer is bad, use it for drafts, experiments, and low-risk work. If the answer is good, then it can start replacing real subscriptions. That is the sane way to use this stack. Not hype, not panic, a subscription audit. Open your monthly tools. Find the ones you only use for first drafts, summaries, simple images, small code tasks, quick mockups, or throwaway automations. Then compare them against the Google version. If the paid tool is still clearly better, keep it. If it is only slightly better, cancel it for a month and see what breaks. And if nothing breaks, that tool was not a tool anymore. It was a tax. The wild thing is that Google did not need one perfect AI app to make this happen. It needed 15 good enough entry points. chat, search, research, code, design, video, music, marketing, automation, app building. And once those entry points are sitting inside the account you already have, the paid tools have to fight for attention, not just features. That is why this is such a big deal. The AI subscription era is not ending, but the lazy AI subscription is in trouble because from now on, every monthly bill has to survive one very annoying question. Did Google already give me enough of this for free?